All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Breath of the Wild Any Percent Tournament, qualifier number 5 of 12 tonight. We're streaming from a new account. This is Breath of the Wild Collective. ZSR graciously let us pick up this qualifier tonight. So shout outs to them. Thank you so much to have us feature this qualifier here. We've got 4 racers featured on screen, as well as 4 more off screen. And I'm joined here on comms by Newborn and Salted. So, good evening, Newborn.
Good evening, Tal. Thank you for that introduction, and thanks to 31 PNMR for hopping in and facilitating the restream, and ADN as well.
Yeah, and so we're starting a little bit late, so the race timer is going. We've got Alpha TZR, Prahaha, Korox, and Hui Win here on screen for us, and then when they hit 0, they'll hit new game, and we will be off. So, well, the Any Percent tournament has been somewhat exciting through the first 4 qualifiers, right, Newborn?
Very much so. Yeah, I think the question on everybody's mind, if they've tuned in to the last couple of qualifiers, is what does Hui Wen have up his sleeve this time?
Yeah, like so we're going to try our best to describe all of the action. Koroks, there is a set route through any percent, but recently in the first couple of qualifiers, Hui Wen, who you see in the bottom right, has broken out some novel runs, not necessarily maybe faster routes, but is really showcasing sort of the variety of strategies in Breath of the Wild. Of course, Koroks Alpha and Prahaha are all 3 runners that look to be competitive. Will most likely be running a more typical and traditional route, and we'll try to describe their action as much as possible. Hui Wen is interesting in the fact that he's kind of a wild card.
Indeed, and what's really impressive to me is that um, he's been putting up some pretty competitive times, even despite really significant deviations from what is typically accepted to be the standard route. I wasn't able to watch this morning's, um, but I watched last night, and there was some IST wonkiness that happened where if it had gone a little bit smoother for him, he would have definitely been right in there in the mix with some of those top times in that particular qualifier. So we'll have to see
Mhm.
what he has going on on this particular one.
Yeah, so the typical route is our runners are going to finish plateau by visiting the bomb shrine, then magnesis, then stasis, and finally cryonis before getting the paraglider, and then going to castle, um, grabbing a bunch of powerful weapons, cooking attack up food, and fighting the 4 blights and Ganon. Hui Wen has thrown in some variations where in one qualifier he did the IST glitch to get 2,000 ancient arrows to bring into the fight. And just this afternoon, in an earlier qualifier, Hui Wen went and got the Master Sword first, and then went into Castle and did the fights. So definitely showing some creativity, but we'll also see how well the other runners execute the basic route here.
Indeed.
Koroks and Alpha are in the Zelda cutscene first. Prahaha ran out of stamina there, but is right behind with Hui Wen.
And I'm noticing that Hui Wen went out of his way to gather peppers and shrooms both, which makes me wonder if we're going to see another IST setup, either a repeat and an attempt at a cleaner version of what he did yesterday, or perhaps a slightly varied one. Um, the only reason I can think of to collect multiple food materials like that is to break slots and attempt the inventory slot transfer glitch.
Yeah, definitely. Generally, through that first camp, runners might pick up 3 peppers as safety food, if at all. Definitely in PB attempts, runners will probably not pick up any food. And so Hui Wen, who does hold top times in any percent, both normal and master mode, him picking up extra food, probably not a safety strat. He probably has something up his sleeve.
One would think. Koroks and Alpha both neck and neck here entering the bomb shrine and getting the bombs rune. We'll have to see if either of them is going to go for the riskier gamer win bomb strat, or if perhaps they'll play it safe and do the kind of standard bomb shrine win bomb here.
Praha having some trouble with bombs clip there. Yeah, so I think in the first few shrines that the runners visit, the main question for them is going to be how safe do they play it.
Sure.
Every strat, the first 3 shrines both have like safe strats and some riskier fast strats that maybe save up to 7 or 8 seconds. Koroks here is going for Gamer Win Bomb, which is the riskier, faster strat.
Oh,
And
just falls short on it.
misses just misses. Alpha, you saw took the safer strat, a win bomb that is not trying to get to the end, but just to that platform there.
Hui Wen also going for gamer win bomb as I would anticipate.
Yeah, I think from what we've seen so far, Hui Wen does all the risky strats.
Sure. Clearly, he's not playing it safer conventionally by any means.
Right.
So the top 3, Alpha, Koroks, and Hui Wen, all within just a couple of seconds of each other coming out of Bomb Shrine.
Yeah, it's great. And Praha going for Gamer as well. Would that look like a really late circle bomb?
It did, yeah.
Usually on Gamer, you want a very early one.
Ooh.
Praha
It's an
ends up in
unfortunate landing spot there.
Yeah, it's an awkward spot. He's going to have to kind of run through here. This is sort of the more traditional point, and Praha has to watch out not to blow himself up there.
I think he got shielded by the floating platform there, actually. But we've seen in these races that anything can happen, and even being behind early like this is not necessarily mean he's out of it by any means.
No, I mean, like, the nature of the 90% speedrun is that it ends with this boss rush that if you die in it, you have to restart from the beginning. So it's common just really like any lead of any lead that runners gain on plateau is still at risk because
Certainly.
of how punishing a death in the boss rush actually is. So certainly no runner is going to win this race on plateau.
Very quick mag clip from Koroks, but I would expect nothing less from him.
So Newborn, do you like
And
setting skew on the back of the shrine or in that like little part in the front?
to be honest with you, I so rarely clip into Magnesis these days because I don't run any percent, but I pretty much always use the back of the shrine. I found that it's a little slower, but to me a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
Which is your preference, Tao?
The back of the shrine. The walking forward one, I typically always end up accidentally doing a forward shield jump.
Yeah, same. Curious to see if we see Koroks or Alpha attempt either the risky canal wind bomb or the slightly less risky upper ledge wind bomb here.
And Koroks is doing canal, and that looks good.
Perfect.
Very, very good. But Alpha doing the run through. Last year, we went through the trouble of naming all of these guardians because we ran by them so often, and now I can't remember a single name.
I feel like the one in Mag has historically been called Greg, although I don't know if that was the name that stuck last year or not.
Okay, so Hui Wen missed Hui Wen missed Canal Wind Bomb and now has to do this slow run back to climb the ladder. Is using some of his backup food to do a backup wind bomb to the monkey cage,
no.
but takes too much fall and ragdoll damage and game overs in Magnesis.
I don't know that I've ever seen that as a backup to missing the mag wind
I
bomb.
That's the first time I've seen it. Korok's on his way to the tree for the wind bomb up to stasis. Alpha starting that BLSS as well.
The beautiful BLSS from Korok. It's so tricky to maintain your speed up that ramp.
Ooh, that looked close, but he's up there. Yeah, and you see Alpha struggle with it. Alpha like clipped into those stairs, like not clipped into, but like bumped into those stairs, and that kind of forced the Bliss to stop all the momentum. And
Oh,
he got a weird step up and a lot of momentum in the opposite direction. That's unintentional, but some good wiggles is pushing him back in the right one. Yeah, going up that ramp at full speed and a good angle, really tough to control.
that momentum boost in the opposite direction that he got. I'm not aware of anybody having figured out exactly what causes that yet. Are you aware of anybody who's got insight into that, Tao?
The only thing that's somewhat similar is that later on, when we see the movement to the Temple of Time for the paraglider split, you'll see some runners have figured out a good step up for that BLSS to get a lot of momentum towards the Temple of Time. But in terms of like a normal, great win bomb by Koroks to the end of the Stasis Shrine.
You,
Um, yeah, but as a consistent way to get it on any ledge, no, I haven't seen that.
Huaywen curiously chose, I don't know if he's typically been doing this, but chose to do a two-part BLSS rather than going up the ramp in one go. And it looks like perhaps because he's stopping by the old man's hut for an axe and
A torch.
a
So
torch.
the torch being a one-handed weapon probably means that there's something's going on. He's climbing this tree. This is not the tree. Oh, I
Oh
guess this
my.
worked. I could have sworn that was not one of the typical trees that runners use.
No, I
That
think you're right about that.
it looked a little further away than normal. But
The only reason I can think for grabbing a torch would be, again, there's got to be some sort of inventory slot transfer in the works.
yeah, so for the IST glitch, runners need a one-handed weapon in order to do the setup. There's no reason to have a torch otherwise for any of the boss fights or anything like that.
Certainly. Korok's approaching the Cryonis Shrine as having taken a pretty solid lead by this point, and first
Ooh,
try ESC,
excellent.
well done.
First try unbuffered ESC. Excellent.
He's got a solid, what looks like a solid 45-ish, 30, 45-second lead on the next closest runner to him at this point.
Praha and Huiwen in stasis. So once again, Huiwen, oh, risky strat doesn't pay off. Game overs in stasis. Praha just running through.
A clean, successful Swiffy jump there for Prahaha. Interestingly, I've seen some runners lately opting to use stasis to knock the boulder out of the way rather than do Swiffy jump, with the intention being to avoid giving themselves the ragdoll glitch again. Although I suppose that would only apply really to longer categories where they would activate the elevator for Cryonis. Because the ESC or the regular clip will both activate ragdoll glitch anyways, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. And as a safety strat, it might make sense for like race conditions in the longer category because the shield jump over that gap, saves 4 or 5 seconds. So for the longer runs, it might be something that runners choose not to worry too much about. But any percent is a category that's short enough that 4 or 5 seconds is a lot.
It makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, runners do much riskier things to save less time than that. So yeah, so if you look in the bottom left at Koroks, I think Koroks has a pretty consistent setup to get momentum towards Temple of Time on this BLSS step up, but it's the only one that I know is as consistent as this. The other thing, the other the other times you get that kind of momentum, it's almost by accident.
Alpha finishing up Cryonis here. Prahaha having a little bit of ESC trouble here. There we go. Made it in there. Looked like one of those times he might have gotten hecked by his D-pad menuing to the bombs or to the rune menu instead of the.
That was that was spicy. I don't know if you noticed, Hui Wen got the right frame for the first try ESC, but somehow the game pushed him out of the door. He jumped to and shield jumped to clear skew to reset for ESC, and in midair throw aimed back at the door of the shrine to turn around.
Wow.
That's it was a really quick movement technique. Something like if you're studying like how to be fast, like go back and watch that. That was pretty impressive.
Wow. Impressive presence of mind too. Presumably not no I mean not knowing ahead of time that that sequence of inputs would be needed.
So
So
Alpha, yeah, Alpha on their way to the Temple of Time.
looks like Prahaha had a wind bomb issue there. I didn't see exactly what happened though.
Yeah, it's gonna run through.
Give him a chance at the old cryo skip. Oh, just falls short on that one. That's honestly the thing that I missed the least about Old Plateau, I think. Is such a small trick, but one that I could never get very consistent at. So here we see Koroks collecting mushrooms. This is the major deviation from the typical amiibo route versus the typical no amiibo route, as I'm sure most of you already know. The Razor Shrooms here are going to allow him to cook his attack up food to facilitate an efficient boss rush.
Yeah, the attack up food is necessary given given the amount of HP that the bosses have. This location of picking up the Razor Shrooms only possible with only possible to be in the route with BLSS. Because before BLSS, if runners came here to pick up the Razor Shrooms, they would just kind of be stuck with no movement options to castle. But BLSS lets us start off a very fast, long distance movement, basically from anywhere. So the question for Koroks and Alpha is whether or not they can get unloaded Castle Gate, and it seemed like Koroks did.
Yeah, Koroks was fortunate there that he had a nice fast BLSS and the gate did not load in. And a clean Moblin sneak strike, it looks like.
MB letting us know in chat that Song is not far behind Koroks. Song is one of our one of the runners that is not on stream right now, but still participating in the qualifiers. Again, they're a total of 8 runners tonight, and they're all streaming their run to Twitch. So if you want to see some of the backup runs, make sure to check out those streamers.
And if you've seen 3 of our 4 runners throw the spear that they picked up at the very beginning, throw it on the fall damage cancel to at Temple of Time, rest assured that that's intentional. It's a weapons optimization to get that slot opened up. But Hui Wen has hung on to his, which we would presume it has some role to play in his forthcoming IST setup.
Probably in creating offsets. And so here's the question that we generally ask now when Hui Wen gets off plateau is, where are you going, Hui Wen?
Angle looks to me like he might be headed back to Serene Staple, perhaps?
Perhaps. Meanwhile, Koroks is now out of bounds and has cooked his attack up meal and is heading up to Zelda's room for the final bow and weapon of the run. Praha is setting up the BLSS, the Leaf Plateau. Alpha TZR looks like he's in like the infinite load after a castle cutscene.
Very clean out of bounds movement from Koroks.
Ooh, and has a
Oh,
loaded gate to contend with, and can't seem to decide what he wants to do right now.
looked
Okay, he's
like
gonna go for the ESC.
looked like he thought about going the copium route there for a moment, but decided not to for some reason.
Yeah, there is the casual way to enter the guard's chamber is right around the corner, but it's about like 40 to 50 seconds slower than kind of a first try ESC here. Hui Wen is at the stable. He's collecting wood.
Mm-hmm. As you do
Uh-huh.
in any percent, right?
As you do in any percent. So he's cooking the attack up meal. So this is obviously IST, maybe a refined IST from his earlier setup. I know in the first qualifier, he had some trouble executing it, and some things didn't work out too well. So maybe he has changed things up a bit. Korok's entering Windblight Skip.
The skip looks
like
good.
Yeah, that skip looks good.
Very nice. Looks like Alpha's having some trouble clipping back in bounds in the having ESC'd into the gate or behind the gate. There we go.
There you go. And Prahaha is on his way to castle. Hui Wen is selling things to Beetle, part of the IST glitch. By the looks of his inventory, it looks like he's making 7 broken slots.
And using sort of an innovative way of breaking more slots than materials that I just learned about a day or two ago in terms of picking up 1 extra of the material and dropping it before beginning the first round of breaking slots, and then picking it up after breaking the first round, is able to combine it with the ones collected to break more slots than you would expect with materials available.
So Koroks missed a headshot as Water Blight was waking up there, and so needs kind of 2 swings on the Claymore there to finish off. A little bit of time loss, but it seems like Koroks is ahead here.
Certainly. Hui Wen looks like he had a much cleaner, at least cleaner round of slot breaking than in the attempt with this setup last night. So that's good for him.
Alpha is running through Castle. This is the 6 Ancient Arrow route. So Alpha is going to be entering the boss rush with 3 more Ancient Arrows than Koroks. Generally considered the safer route. Loses about 20 to 30 seconds.
Far safer, of course, with less chance of failing a mid-air wind bomb out of bounds and having to reload, of course.
Koroks gets the fast Fire Blight cycle. Excellent.
Very good.
Koroks is having a great run.
Very, very clean. He's going to enter Calamity, well, gosh, about 22 minutes and change in race time, but that's 21 minutes and some time in standard timing.
So it looks like Hui Wen got an ancient arrow from a different place than we saw him do last night. He's doing Wind Bomb plus midair here, probably going straight to Zelda's room. The Royal Guard's bow is needed for, specifically, is needed for Windblight Skip. So even if Hui Wen's intention is to get a bunch of ancient arrows, he still needs the bow in particular for the setup. It has to do with the range and the speed of the bow. And the firepower.
Did he execute Windblight Skip last night using an ancient arrow, or did he have regular arrows in his inventory as well at that time?
I think he had both, but used an ancient arrow anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Koroks is in Calamity. And do this flurry rush, then run into the wall of the Sanctum for 10 bomb arrows, which will be all the firepower that he needs for the rest of the fight.
Well, and he's done this fight so many times that it's, almost automatic at this point for him, it seems.
Yeah, it is a pretty scripted fight, but it's easy to mess up at every little step. So that laser parry followed by this spin attack, and then he's going to try to land 3 accurate ancient arrow headshots after this throw. And Calamity's kind of juking and dodging at the same time. Ooh, finish the phase with the bow break. That was an excellent phase one from Koroks.
It's about as good as it gets. Prahaha, unfortunately, um, leg stopped on the wind bomb from the bridge near Zelda's study up to the sanctum, and so had to take a reload there. One of the things about Castle is that it's super, super laggy, and so for that wind bomb, if you don't look straight up or straight down, you're almost certainly going to lag stop.
Okay, Koroks, a good phase one Calamity leads straight into the instant laser. Oddly enough, like we've learned, it's not RNG somehow. Like having the right phase one gets you the optimal phase two, and Koroks is, as I'm saying this, Koroks is almost done with the stun lock and almost into Dark Beast. That
Incredible.
is amazing time.
Especially in a race context. That's incredible.
Okay, Huiwen is done with all of the IST shenanigans and the saving and reloading and the dropping of the weapons. So let's see this boss rush from Huiwen, as Alpha looks like he's in Fireblight Phase 2.
It looked like Huiwen set up a skew bounce there, much like he did last night, which presumably will allow him to get some bullet time and load up on headshots. Successful Wind Blight skip from Prahaha allows him to begin the fight with Water Blight now. Very nice Fire Blight from Alpha.
Ooh, oh, okay. I was looking at Huiwen's screen and thought he had missed Windblight skip because Windblight had stopped shaking before the end of the cutscene, but then just blew up right afterwards. So Huiwen's into the boss rush cleanly here.
Is that possibly a product of using the Ancient Arrow? Because typically if the head stops shaking, I feel like that is a sure sign that the skip failed.
It could be. I don't think anyone's really studied the animation that cleanly or that closely to really know how much shaking is the right amount.
Koroks in full auto-scroller mode here, almost finished. Nobody else has even begun Calamity yet. Really impressive performance.
Huiwen has a corrupted stack of Endura food, so just went into bullet time and just Ancient Arrow down Water Blight there. Ate stamina food so that he wouldn't come out of bullet time. And looks like he's going to do the same thing to Fireblight there. That was neat. Drop the bomb in phase one. It's still there in phase two. I don't know if that actually saves any time because Fireblight does like a wake-up animation and everything like that when you can drop the bomb. But, you know, neat little movement here. Koroks on final shot here. This is an amazing time by Koroks in a race. Whew.
GG's, John. That's impressive.
27 flat in race time would be a sub 26. That's
I was going to say high 25. Goodness gracious.
Really, wow.
That's got to be the best race we've seen so far in these qualifiers, yeah?
Yeah, and Koroks had some rough luck in his first two qualifiers. Didn't finish one, kind of had trouble in Castle in both. So this is closer to sort of what we've seen from Koroks over the past year or so as he climbed the leaderboard.
It's like Alpha's well into their stun lock here, so barring some sort of miscue, should be finishing Calamity here in the next few seconds. So in the bottom right here in Huiwen's screen, what you're seeing is the result of not having a boomerang to throw to break the shield. He has to use the metal rods to do Thunderblight Phase 2 sort of the intended way by electrocuting him.
Okay, we've switched in Lumina, who's in phase 1 Calamity after Koroks has finished. And we're going to get 3 runners in Calamity. Prahaha is going to be shooting 6 ancient arrows at Calamity's face here. Huiwen's going to be shooting quite a bit more.
As many as he wants, basically. And just like that, phase 1 taken care of.
And so part of Huiwen's IST setup, oh, GG Song, finishing with 28-24, also a really amazing race time.
Oh, okay. I thought Huiwen, he missed the parry, but didn't take enough damage to kill him.
Oh, and there's the skew bounce that we didn't even point out that he got. Look at Link's angle right here as he's shooting on Calamity.
And just so Huiwen's IST gave him infinite stamina food, so he's just going to town. And there it is. That's an absurd Calamity time with those ancient arrows, skew bounce, and infinite stamina food.
Yeah, so just to explain skew bounce quickly, if you get skew while in bullet time, it basically it lets you, after landing on your shield, jumping, get more height than you normally would, and that height is enough for bullet time, whereas a normal jump doesn't get you into bullet time. And so Huiwen is abusing that fact, and entering bullet time, slowing down Calamity, and using his infinite speed food. What is Huiwen doing? He has infinite stamina food. He has left his horse.
He's just gonna ghost.
It looks like he is going to do the entire Dark Beast fight from midair.
What a show Huiwen has put on for us these last 3 qualifiers. That's incredible. Now the question is, I suppose, does he get a talking to like Tay infamously did those couple of years ago about going off script? But I can't imagine. I mean, what he's done has been nothing short of amazing.
Alpha GG, 3rd place, 30 minutes 34 seconds. That's a good time, a race time too, sub 30 from the leaderboard timing.
Prahaha and Lumina both about neck and neck here in their Dark Beast progress. Lumina maybe slightly ahead.
Huiwen is a showman because this is slow, right? Because he has to open the menu to eat his stamina food. He's going to bullet time to stay midair here. This is really just for show.
What a show it is! Well done.
How looks like we do the belly shot?
That I'm sure he's got something up his sleeve. Looks like we've got Future 22 on screen now in place of Alpha. He's in phase 1 Calamity, landing his bomb arrow headshots.
Uh-oh, it does not have a shield up. Decides to dodge it instead of trying to parry it. Okay, good awareness there.
Did Huiwen get the belly shot and I missed it?
I was looking away, so I didn't see the belly shot. Because right now this looks like the final eye is opening. Yeah.
Certainly, yeah.
MB telling us in chat that he got it from the side, so maybe the hitbox is kind of just weird like that.
GG Huiwen.
GG Huiwen. Definitely showing us the flashiest strats, if not the fastest.
I've got to presume that's what the IST setup was meant to look like last night.
Yeah.
And we've seen here that that's a very competitive time, despite going so much further out of the way than any other runner did in this particular race or in any percent run ever that I'm aware of.
All right. We get Pyro Sigma. Oh, and Pyro Sigma has finished.
GG Pyro.
Oh no! Oh, we were no Pyro.
Oh, I see.
Now.
Okay.
Okay, Pyro is in Calamity, with Calamity going to the wall, unfortunately. Okay, so there was a slight delay in changing over the name and loading up Pyro's stream. Lots happening. Praha has finished, Lumina has finished, so GG to both of them.
Future looking to begin the stun lock with a little bit of shaky menuing, but hopefully looks like they're okay. Timing worked out there.
Yeah, I think Future has a lot of extra weapons from what we would normally gather. I'm assuming for safety, and then extra weapons just mean a little extra menuing. So sometimes you kind of get mixed up on what you have equipped.
I noticed that their attack food just ran out, so they may need some of those extra weapons.
Ooh, okay.
Solidly in stun lock, but when that claymore breaks, there's the chance that the stun lock could be dropped, and then you have to improvise a little bit.
Yeah, and it definitely will. We see the damage. Has a Knight's Claymore?
Did that come from the guards? I know in the upper area of the guards chamber where the Lizalfos like to lurk, there is a Knight's Claymore up there. I'm wondering if that's where they got that from. Certainly a risky place to grab a weapon from with the two black Lizalfos patrolling.
Pyro's in their stun lock with plenty of time, 15 minutes left on attack food, so Pyro must have gotten the dragon part to enhance the attack up meal.
And Future clutches out that stun lock despite the breaking claymore and the attack food running out, so nice job.
And Pyro is out into Dark Beast as well.
So it looks like, at least from the runs that we've seen on screen at any point, we've managed to avoid anybody taking a death during the boss rush, which is, I mean, a good thing to see. You love to see people making it through the boss rush without having to reload back to the beginning due to an unfortunate death. Yeah,
the death in the boss rush is so crushing, both time-wise and mentally, that generally when we start these streams and we catch the runners just warming up, most people are warming up on the boss rush. Not that it's technically the most difficult part of the run, but definitely the toughest mentally, and where like the largest time losses can come.
Future struggling a little bit with those the side shots. Anybody who's done Dark Beast knows that those hitboxes on the glowing points on the sides in particular can be very deceptive, and it's pretty common to have to take an extra shot or two, especially if you're not used to doing Dark Beast with regularity.
Hey, welcome, Pra.
Thank you.
GG's.
It was an interesting run for me, to say the least. There.
So we're just watching Pyro and Future finish out their runs, so where did that run rank for you in the qualifiers that you've done so far?
I think that just about ties the first qualifier I did. Obviously, I'm not super happy with my performance. With I can't think of a good highlight of it. But it was definitely a good example of that limited reset mentality that I carried for about 2 months, and it really helped me here, because I thought I was dead about 5 different times in this run, and I almost... Go ahead.
Was there any particular part that was especially a struggle? Was it the boss rush that was giving you difficulties, or plateau shenanigans?
I want to be the typical speedrunner and blame the controller. My D-pad just didn't work. I missed both of the shield surfs at the start of the run. I can't even explain that one. But I honestly didn't even know Thunderblight's laser parry timing, so I'm just glad I got that without dying.
Welcome in, runners. GG's to you all.
Thanks, GG's.
Yeah, cheers.
Korok, so how did that compare to your first 2 runs?
Yeah, I finally didn't get trolled completely by stuff, so it was okay.
That
a lot of
was very
mistakes.
smooth.
but yeah, it's pretty good. It was smooth, but I missed gamer. Castle was kind of sloppy. I made a mistake when I was on the way to get the mushrooms. I didn't have stamina, and for some reason in my mind, I thought I couldn't pull glider. So like when I tried to like land higher up and get like safety mushrooms above where you normally get the mushrooms, and turns out I could have still pulled glider. I like it makes sense now. Like you definitely can without stamina for a little bit.
Yeah,
So
you have a
I
tiny little bit of leeway, don't you?
I flubbed it and I lost some time there because I grabbed the mushrooms anyway, and it was a little bit but they were good for safety. So you know.
All right,
Not a
before
bad
we
thing.
get to some other runners, just want to mention that Pyro, Future, and Jeg have all finished. So just a solid qualifier from everyone. Everyone finished. We didn't witness any death in the boss rush, at least for the runners on the stream. So very smooth.
GG's to everyone.
Welcome in Lumina.
Thank you.
GG. How was your run?
Oh, well, it was actually outside of two crucial points, which I will shortly bring up. It was a good run. Like, my pace was good. I made a couple mistakes on plat, but all in all, I got a 14 plat still. I went for stasis wind bombing, but I could barely remember it, and I lost like 30 seconds because I dropped that and then ran. But no, the main things were when I went into castle, I accidentally alerted the moblin, and I don't know a backup. So I died twice there, reloaded once, and I lost all in all about 3 minutes there, which is why this run was so awful. Otherwise, I think I would have been 28 pace. And then also Calamity was a bit weird. I got all the headshots, like my damage routing was fine, but I never got the laser until he got too close to me. So he went to wall in the start of phase 2. Thankfully he did spear, but I lost like another 25 seconds there. Overall solid run, but yeah, the major mistakes were the moblin. That kind of let me down this run.
Was this your first or second qualifier, Luma?
It's my second.
How did it compare to the first?
I think the first was just below a sub 31 actual time. So they haven't been great runs, but this one was slightly worse.
All right. So you got a couple more to do. Alpha, welcome in.
Hello.
How was your run?
To be honest, it was pretty good except for a little stasis mishap and then loaded gate. Other than that, I felt pretty solid. Still finished with a 29:02 like non-race time, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I think we noticed first of all, you seem to have like an infinite castle load.
Yes, I did that. I've never seen that take that long before, even with instant cutscene.
But then like you seem to be heading towards the copium entrance, and then thought better of it and went for ESC instead. So what was going through your head there?
Yeah, I was as soon as I got the cutscene, because I was like, I almost sort of stopped paying attention as soon as I saw the gate was unloaded. I was like, oh, I got this, right? Just go through. And then it fades to black. I'm like, oh no. So I'm thinking, obviously I had a lot of time to think during that load, but I was thinking, I'll just go for copium route, play it safe, right? Lose, 30 seconds or whatever to the ESC. But then I remembered once I turned the corner that like the malice was blocking the path, and I realized I didn't know where the safe path was. So I was just like, I guess I gotta do ESC now. And then I did it and regret it. So
Was it you, Alpha, who is the runner who had a bit of difficulty getting back in bounds after that gate clip?
Yep.
Yeah, that can be tricky.
It's tough. I need to practice it more, clearly.
It's the kind of thing that you hope you never have to use, especially in a race setting, but unfortunately, can definitely catch you.
Yep, for sure.
All right, so this was qualifier number 5 for us. I think some of you have done 3 now. Has anyone done 4 at this point?
So that's a no.
Yes, I don't think so. I just looked at the rankings say that no one has.
Okay. So anticipate that most of you will try for another run?
Absolutely. I got to get that 0 off the board.
No, you can leave it there. It looks good to me.
Does look okay, right? It's kind of nice, just chilling.
Makes me look a lot better.
Yeah, right?
We're
I'm
all
above
human,
Koroks.
yeah.
Right behind you.
Yeah.
So as a runner, how much pressure does it relieve knowing that that essentially your worst run of the 4 is droppable?
Pretty nice. I'm pretty happy about that.
I feel like I approach it the same.
It
I'm
kind
just
of
gonna do what I
takes
can with every
a
run.
lot of pressure off. Sorry to talk over you.
Yeah, no worries. At the end of the day, I'll do the 4 best runs I can. It's nice that your worst one will be chopped off, but at the same time, I approach them all the same way.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we'll wrap up on this question. So following up on that, so like how many of you are doing different strats than you would in the bracket play for the qualifiers? Like, are we seeing your bracket play strats at work here, or are you doing things any more or less risky because of the qualifier format?
For the most part, the stuff I'm doing now is what I'm doing in the bracket because I've thought about this a lot. Like, I don't really want to do like gamer win bomb or stasis win bomb or anything, just because it's too risky and that's not the kind of uh play that I like to do. So unless I'm up against like a really high profile opponent, then I don't think I'll do anything crazy. So I'm kind of using this as race prep anyway. So good to get in that mindset.
Kind of in the same
Kind of
boat.
weirdly the opposite. I'm kind of just going to go for hard strats no matter what, I think.
Hmm.
The second qualifier I did easy strats just because the first one threw me off so much, not being able to finish the run. But I think for me personally, like as long as I grab peppers at the start, going for gamer isn't really that scary to me. I don't know. I think like you're gonna get like a 40x if you miss it, so like it's still pretty good.
I did also forget food again. So
Yeah, I'm trying to get in the mindset of playing it safe, getting food where I can, not ending up like at cryo and needing to eat for a win bomb and not have food. So
Yeah, those 3 peppers take 2 seconds to grab. It can save you 30 seconds of a reload for sure.
Absolutely, definitely can.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I feel like where I'm losing time is not because I'm playing it slow. It's even then I'm dropping time. So I'm just gonna keep working with what I got, and hopefully I'll stop making these mistakes.
Yeah, I just need to practice a lot of stuff. I'm still pretty rusty, so
Yeah.
but hopefully it picks up.
All right. So GG's, everyone. All the runners who joined us here in voice chat right now, and the few runners who also participated, and finished, who we didn't get a chance to talk to. Big thanks to ZSR, Zelda Speedruns, for letting Breath of the Wild Collective pick up this qualifier at the last minute, so that we could showcase these runners and show everyone what they can do. I think our restreamer has picked someone to raid, so stick around for that. And Newborn, thank you for joining me on comms.
And thank you as well for having me, Tao. Thanks everybody for watching.